Give me just a second. Stand
And they
by
can
for
see the
my.
radar right now, right?
They can. They can see you and the radar. Yep. You're still on mute. Just give me just a second. I'm gonna go on mute once I unmute you. Okay. Looks like you're live. I'm going on mute. I'm unmuting you in 3, 2, 1.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Chris Sowers here. It is almost 12:30 on a Saturday, a warm Saturday around the Delaware and the Lehigh Valleys, although I have to tell you, we have a nice thin canopy of high clouds upstairs at the moment. It doesn't feel all that bad, although definitely a little more muggy compared to the last couple of days. Okay, so for the last, let's say 2-3 days, we have been a little concerned about the possibility of severe weather firing up across the immediate Philadelphia area late this afternoon and into the evening hours. And as you can see here, we do have this cluster to our west. Now, it's not even in Pennsylvania at the moment, but it is warned out there across central portions of Ohio, from Cleveland all the way down to Columbus. We also have a severe thunderstorm watch that was issued by the National Weather Service out there. It includes Pittsburgh and Wheeling and just south of Akron. Also, a mesoscale discussion was issued by the Storm Prediction Center too. So this is what we're watching. Now, at the same time, there's going to be a front dropping in from the north. All right, so you're going to get this piece of energy pushing east across the state of Pennsylvania later today. And then you're also going to get a little bit more energy from this front coming in from the north. And combined, it could trigger around to some pretty good downpours and thunderstorms later on. My buddy Drew, he's on the controls. He's out there in southern Tennessee. He's handling the controls for me today. And we're going to set this in motion. Here's how the model data handles this as it pushes east. All right, quiet in the short term, and then look towards the top of your screen, and then that's where we're going to start to see things flare up later this afternoon and into the evening. Right here, all right, we're lined up pretty good. Here's the progression. There's 3, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. See the line to the north? That's 6 p.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and there's midnight. All right, so it initially looks like a pretty decent hit for the Lehigh Valley and the Poconos. All right, strong gusty winds appears to be the primary threat with this. There could be winds up to 60, 65 miles per hour. Drew, can we back this up just a little bit? Yeah. Okay, let's start right around 12 and let's show it again. There's 1 o'clock, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, stop right there. Okay, stop right there. All right, so if you have outdoor plans today, we're good. We're in good shape through at least 5 or 6 p.m., and that includes the far western counties. That includes places like Macungie and Emmaus and Allentown and Reading, all right, Lancaster and Harrisburg. Everybody out there is still in good shape by 5. But shortly after that, 5:36, if you look to the west, northwest, you're going to start to see the sky turn a little dark. We get this line, this broken line of heavy thunderstorms and showers pushing through. Now, that's 7 o'clock in the evening. Philadelphia, I-95 corridor, still in good shape. But now we do have some wet weather pushing through the far western counties. There's 8 o'clock. Notice the reds there heading up the northeast extension into the Lehigh Valley. Drew, let's back it up 1 hour, okay? There you go, right there. So by 8 o'clock, one of the main arteries, if you will, roads that you don't want to be on, is going to be the northeast extension. Big thunderstorms will be pushing through at that point. Again, winds possibly 60, 65 miles per hour. Obviously, when you see the colors like that, you're going to get drenching downpours. And there is the possibility of some small hail, too. Also, what I want you to notice here, if you live south of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, a lot of this activity is going to be north of that road, all right, north of that major highway there. So if you live in South Jersey, if you live in Delaware, let's progress this along slowly, Drew. If you live in Delaware, if you live in South Jersey, see that? Most of this, go ahead to 10, 11, and midnight. There's 10, there's 11, and there's midnight. What did you see? Didn't see much, right? Just a couple of showers and storms to the south. The bulk of this, or at least the bulk of the heaviest, appears to be north of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and especially in the Lehigh Valley and the Poconos. And then as we continue along, if we can fast forward into Sunday morning, now remember at this point the front's coming through. So there still could be a leftover shower or thunderstorm. All right, now this is going to be later in the afternoon on Sunday, but the coverage with that will end up being very spotty as opposed to what we'll see later this afternoon. It's more widespread. There's a look at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And if we can just push it a little bit farther out, there's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2. See how spotty that is? Really, really spotty stuff. There's 4 in the afternoon, Atlantic City, Marmora, maybe those areas, Ocean City. Maybe you're getting a little wet there. That's really it. All right, that's really it on Sunday. Sunday, in large part now, looks like a pretty nice day. Drew, let's go over to the temperatures real quick. Let's show everybody what's going on here. The numbers are pretty warm. I believe officially we have hit... Is it 80? Drew, what are we looking at there? That's the 11 o'clock number. Okay. I was going to say, I'm not 100% sure if we've hit 90 degrees yet at this point. We're at 12:30. We have to be pretty close, I would suspect. But like I said, we do have this nice canopy of cirrus clouds overhead. There's a look at the dew points. All right, now what we use dew points for, it's to measure the amount of moisture that's in the air. When those numbers start climbing through the 60s, it gets humid. You get into the 70s, you break 70, and you're in that tropical category. All right, so we're not in that tropical air mass right now, but it is muggy, especially when you compare it to the last several days. All right, now that dew point, that elevated dew point acts as fuel. So we'll have that in place, and we're also going to have some wind energy too. Dynamically, there's a decent amount of support. Here's a look at the outlooks from the SPC. Now, remember, this is on a scale of 1 to 5. All right, this light shade of green that you see in between Dover and Salisbury, the lightest shade, all that is a general thunderstorm threat. There's no threat for severe weather in that color. Where you see the darker shade of green, Toms River, Atlantic City, Millville, Fortescue, Cape May, the Wildwoods, Dover, west into Baltimore, D.C., Winchester, and Petersburg, that is an isolated threat for severe weather. All right, where you see the yellow shade, that is where we could see scattered heavy thunderstorms, a little bit more organization, if you will. And that's what we saw when we were looking at the future product, the future cast there. So if I were able to put another tier in there, and I don't want to because I think everybody in that yellow shade will see the same thing, but if I could just draw my own polygon to show where I think the severe weather will be most concentrated, it would be in a line from New York City, south of in between Philly and Allentown, west to Harrisburg, through State College, and then we circle back above Williamsport, Scranton, and into Poughkeepsie. All right, that's where I think there's going to be the best chance. I'll tell you what, Drew, can we flip it over to the wind outlook today? Do we have that ability, the wind and the hail outlooks? There's the wind. All right, so again, the area of most concern, according to the Storm Prediction Center, and these guys are really good. This is all they do 24/7 is severe weather. According to their latest forecasts, they have that area there shaded in, I guess it's like a reddish color. That's where we have the greatest chances of seeing winds up to at least 60, maybe 65 miles per hour. Now, that does include Philadelphia, north into the Lehigh Valley, the Poconos, the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, and then west into Harrisburg, Williamsport, and State College. So you go a little bit farther to the south, and again, we saw this on the modeling. The threat quickly diminishes as you approach the coast because you're starting to pick up that marine influence, and the air's a little more stable down there. Drew, let's flip it over to hail real quick. I see your finger on the trigger there. I know you want to get to it. There's a look at the hail threat. It does include Philadelphia, but again, notice the brighter colors are well west of the Philadelphia television market. So that is going to be the area right there from Williamsport to State College, out there towards Johnstown and Altoona, and up towards Bradford, getting closer to that New York State, Pennsylvania state line, okay? That's where the more concentrated areas of heavy thunderstorms with hail will be. That does not include Philadelphia, thankfully. So it's wind, it's hail. Do we have the tornado one, Drew? If we can flip it over to tornado. So I want to word this cautiously, because just because you do not see us in the green does not mean there's not a threat. There's always at least a small threat. But as you can see, it's a very, very low threat at this point. You can never say never. It's just like when you have let's say you're going swimming in the ocean, and we'll report a low risk of rip currents. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't get a rip current. It just means the threat is really, really low. Same thing here. All right, the tornado threat is greatest well west, up towards State College and Pittsburgh and Meadville out there. But you could always get something quickly spinning up in the Philadelphia area too. But right now, that chance is really, really low. All right, let's go back out live to the radar. And And there's a look at the severe thunderstorm watch issued by the National Weather Service. It's up for the Pittsburgh area. That red outlined area is where the Storm Prediction Center has their mesoscale discussion. It's going to be in those areas there. Right, you can see it. The severe weather potential. Now, what will happen is as that line is marching east, and you can already see what appears to be a little bit of a Boeing segment there. It's not, great job, Drew. That's what I was going to ask. It's not well defined at the moment, but over the last couple of frames, you can almost see a little bit of a bow starting to take shape. The whole thing is warned. You see that bright yellow there south of Akron. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. And the main threat with this right now is strong gusty winds, 60 to 65. So as this continues to march east and it crosses over the state line into Pennsylvania, they are likely going to either do one of two things. One, extend the severe thunderstorm watch boxes east, or two, that outline red area, the mesoscale discussion, they will push that east. Okay, there's a look at a wind report right now, and we have 66 mile per hour winds. Now, it looks like that was at the OSU airport, all right, and that was reported around 11:55. That's pretty impressive considering how it's so early in the day. That just shows you the amount of wind energy we have with this right now. So that's what we're going to be watching. Again, if you remember what we showed you with the Futurecast, that initial line may actually fall apart a little bit, and then we'll see as the front drops in from the north, another line develop from Poughkeepsie through Scranton and Williamsport southwest of Pittsburgh. That will collapse south and east too. So if you continue to watch the radar over the next couple of hours, and it appears as if that line, as it pushes into western PA, is starting to weaken, that's not necessarily all that we're going to have to monitor. Okay, we'll have to monitor the line to the north too. Here's a look at the satellite. We do have a lot of clouds in place right now, and that's a good thing. You often hear me talk about this. Clouds will limit the instability. All right, if you can't get the heating from the sun, you have a increased chance that severe weather can't pop. All right, so we can keep these clouds in place. That's a good thing. You do see the breaks out there towards western portions of Lancaster and Berks counties, Hazleton, Pottsville, Harrisburg, Gettysburg, York, Chambersburg, those areas, all in full sun at the moment. So that'll help to destabilize the atmosphere, okay? And that's what we're going to have to watch over the next couple of hours. How much sunshine do we get? All right, the more sun we get, the greater the chances are going to be that we're going to run into some issues late this afternoon and into the evening hours. Okay. All right, Drew, I think we're in good shape. We've got everything covered at the moment. I've got to go to a birthday party real quick. My buddy KC, his wife Joanne, she has a birthday. I'm not going to tell you.